when I walk through a jam. No one knows who I am. Put your head on my chest, and I'm Mr. Success.
I'm Mr. Success, and all of you out there, are you the success that you want to be this year? You're listening to The Inevitable Radio Show. I am your host, Bill Sumner, wishing all of you an awesome beginning to your new year. Arlene, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Are you off to a great start, or is it a challenge for you?
Actually, I'm off to a pretty good start.
Oh.
I make the same resolution every year.
What is that?
I want to lose as much as 300 pounds. I've lost the first 100. And the last 30, I can't get off, seemingly.
Talk to me about how you lost the first 100.
Portion control and exercise.
Okay.
That's really the key.
All right. And what are you doing today to lose the last 30?
More exercise and more portion control. But sometimes I don't know where the fear comes in that I can be doing well. And as soon as somebody mentions, oh, you're looking slender, you're looking slender, I do binge eating and just go crazy. And I'd like to break myself from this addiction to wanting to eat certain foods, just to get over anxiousness or anxiety or whatever the thing is.
I actually have a very powerful metaphor around why do most overweight people not really want to be thin? And I'll make it short for you. Most overweight people, Arlene, run a program that says, when I'm thin, I'm going to be amazing. My life will change. Everything that happens in their life today generally isn't a great thing, isn't exactly what they want. They suffer through so they don't have the job they want. They don't have the relationship the way they want it. They don't have the wealth that they want. And this society is very prejudicial to overweight people, even though there's more and more happening and obesity rates are climbing. Our society generally still punishes and penalizes overweight people in some part. So as the overweight person looks at their life and they're not very happy, they look at this program that says, when I'm thin, it's going to be amazing for me. Now, as you begin to approach thin, that unconscious program will kick in and it will go, okay, it's time to be amazing. So you have to quit your job or change your job or upgrade your job. You have to do something in your relationship because the way your boyfriend or your husband has been treating you is no longer acceptable. So you have to either set a boundary and say, you can't treat me this way, or you get rid of them and you go ask out that person in the Starbucks line or the person at work that's really been smiling at you and you really have had this great connection with. So what happens as you begin to get thin is this program that you run attached to the life that you want. When you are thin, says, okay, it's time. But all the fears and demons that you had that drove you to become overweight in the first place, for the most part, they're alive and well. Just by the fact that you did portion control and more exercise and you've lost the weight, psychologically, what have you done with those demons that drove you to gain all that weight in the first place? Do you know what those demons are today?
I know what some of them are, and I don't think I've addressed them that well.
Give me your top one.
The top one is the fear that this program that you're talking about that I've run, that I'll think all my relationships will be amazing if I were to lose weight. And the thinner I get, and when I meet people, and they're not amazing, then I start eating again.
Well, see, Arlene, here's a big question for you. Even though you've got thin physiology, when I meet this guy, is he going to be, the same old guy that I've always met? And it's not shifted to, wait a second, I deserve a man who's going to love me, who's going to be nice to me, who I can love in return. We can talk about our days. We can create a great relationship, and nothing less will do. And even if I touch a guy and think a guy might be the one for me, and he turns out to be a jerk, well, that happens to beautiful, thin women, too. They meet guys that are jerks. They just move on. They don't record, well, I just met that guy because I'm a loser. They record, that guy's a loser. So the psychology, Arlene, needs to shift. That first of all, if the guy isn't your guy, release him and let him go. He doesn't know what he's missing. You do.
Right.
And you hold on to the belief, the thought, the feeling, the joy. You fall in love with you first. And know that the guy that wins your heart is going to be a lucky guy. And it's like Christmas time. I'm going to unwrap a present. Not that guy. Unwrap a present. Not that guy.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please visit our website for more information on this extraordinary coaching system at www.theinevitableyou.com. Then, sign up for your 2-week free trial of our membership to gain access to hundreds of hours of amazing content and tools just like this. Now, back to Bill.
We're listening to Arlene talk about a food addiction. So, Arlene, are you up with me in understanding that, first of all, you're not really addicted to food. You're addicted to a fear that if I'm thin and I still do not find the love that I want, because in the past you could record, well, I don't have the love that I want. I don't have a relationship that is the ideal for me because I'm overweight. But now if you're thin and you still don't get love, you've psychologically got a huge problem. It means there's something wrong with you, and it has nothing to do with your weight. And so that fear, which sits there in the primitive ego mind and works on us, and all of us have these primitive ego fears about, who we are and what we're not and those kinds of things. When that has power and that has command and control, you can lose 30 pounds and then some and have a complete makeover, and you're totally looking beautiful. But if inside the psychology is you're just waiting for someone to hurt you, it's going to be very hard to lose that last 30 pounds. Does that all make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to plug into this, it's not an addiction to food. It's an addiction to the fear that you won't find love.
Right.
Now, there's a tool I'm going to talk about that the best way to get rid of fears is not to push them away, but to embrace them and love them and honor them and take the gift or the lesson from them that they offer us, and then we can release them out the back door. We don't push them away, we release them. Did that make sense to you?
It made sense, but my thought was, how do you do that?
So that's a great question, and that's why I wanted to finish this with you. What has been the benefit to you? We know what the fear is now. That's step one, because you called originally saying, I have an addiction to food. And if you try to solve an addiction to food problem, you're never going to succeed at that, because that's not what's really running reality for you. So we've solved for and found the great fear.
Right.
The second question is, what's the benefit to you for having that fear?
I think the benefit is that when I am in relationships and they don't work, or I don't know. I think the thing is I don't fully put my heart into a relationship. I've been told that I can be cold, and I think that fear keeps me from completely engaging with someone.
Yeah, you're not cold, you're afraid.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. So maybe the outside persona or what you've adopted appears or feels cold to somebody, but what's going on inside is you're totally afraid.
Right.
So holding on to this fear, on one hand, one of the biggest benefits, I would guess, is it keeps you from being hurt by another man.
Right.
But now the third question, because whatever new strategy we have to design has to keep us, it's got to match and answer the benefit. So jumping over to a metaphor, a lot of reasons why people can't quit smoking is they don't know the benefits to them of smoking, and whatever strategy they design to replace smoking with must meet those benefits at a similar or higher level. And if we can design it at a higher level, then you'll want to do the new strategy because you get more benefits than the old strategy. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So if your benefit to being afraid is the fact that you're not going to be hurt, then the new strategy that we designed for you, the new recipe card, has got to protect you so that you won't be hurt.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right. Now, here's the third question, and then we'll design the strategy now that we have the three answers. The third question is, why must you be free of this fear now? Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but now, right now. Why must you be free of it now?
Because it's crippling.
Yeah.
It just, I feel trapped. I feel like I'm in a box and I can't get.
Yeah.
And this fear permeates everything else that I do.
Arlene, do you have children?
I have one son.
How old is he?
16.
Here's going to be the other reason why. If you've heard this expression before, let me promise you it's true.
Okay.
Sons learn how to be men from their fathers or the male role models in their life. They learn how to be in love with the relationship with their mothers. So, and daughters, it's just the opposite. They learn how to be women from the mothers or the women role models that they have, and they learn how to be in love and what a husband feels like and what a relationship should be based on their relationship with the father. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So here's the other reason, Arlene, that this has got to be now. Your son is getting critical programming from you on what a woman feels like and what a relationship with a woman should feel like based on his relationship with you. And you want him to understand that he can go out there and pick a powerful, magical, amazing woman, but he's not going to learn how to do that unless you show up in life powerful and magical and amazing. He won't know what that feels like. He'll run into a powerful woman and he'll say to himself, well, she's too aggressive, or she's too this, or she's too that. She doesn't feel right to me. He will look for a woman who has a demon, who has a less than recipe card that she's using and is trapped and in a prison and in a box. And he'll go, now this feels normal to me. And I don't think you want to do that to your son.
No, I don't.
So,
I really don't want to do that to him.
So the why must I be free of this now has even more leverage to it. Because I know you love your son and I know you want the best for him.
Yeah.
So the 3-step questions: what is my greatest fear? What is the benefit to me of that fear? And why must I be free now? When you know the 3 answers, you can write those down. And now you can design the new strategy. And here's how you release it. If you show up, Arlene, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, but it really isn't. It is switching. It is flipping a light switch on. When you show up as powerful and amazing, first of all, the fact that a guy is a jerk or not very nice to you, does that have anything to do with you? Or everything to do with who that guy is?
Has everything to do with who he is.
Yes. So, first of all, you don't have to fear any man out there, because if he's a jerk, you just say next. Think of the flight attendant as they walk down the line, and there's a whole plane full of people, and they say, coffee? Would you like some coffee? And they say, no, thank you. Would you like some coffee? No, thank you. Would you like some coffee? Yes, please. Would you like some coffee? No, thank you. Many times dating men is nothing more than saying, would you like to meet me? Would you like to know who I am? No, thank you. I'm a jerk. Okay. What about you? No, thank you. I'm a loser. What about you? Yes, I would like to get to know you. Well, come on in. Let me let you into my heart. Let you know who I am. And does that guarantee that you'll never be hurt?
No.
No. Will your son ever be hurt in his search for his powerful, extraordinary woman?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't worry about the hurt, because Eleanor Roosevelt asked this question of us. She said, is failure the opposite of success?
No.
No. Most people, by the way, say, well, of course it is. If I'm not succeeding, of course I'm failing. What she said is, no, failure is integral to success. And the greater the success you want, the greater the failure you must have in order to achieve success. The opposite of success is not trying.
Exactly.
So as you begin the search for love, Arlene, as you begin the search to find a man, as you begin the 2009 year, and you sit down with your son and you say, look, son, it's okay for women to have fears, but let me show you what a powerful woman looks and feels like. Right. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm just going to offer myself to the right guy. And if he turns out to be a jerk, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm still amazing.
Right.
And in that search process, you'll find the guy, and you won't be cold, as you've been recorded in the past. You may be afraid,
right.
but that's okay, because we all have fears. You know you have to be free of that fear now. So knowing that the gift and the lesson and the benefit was to help teach you how important it is to love and to be love and to have love and to love in return. Arlene, thank you very much for sharing with us this morning. This is what reality creation looks like and feels like. It's not as difficult, it's not as dangerous, it's not as tough as most people think. You're listening to the Inevitable Radio Show because you are inevitable, you are extraordinary, we are all powerful beings. You can create the most amazing new year.
Thank you for listening to the Inevitable Podcast. Please visit our website for more information on this extraordinary coaching system at www.theinevitableyou.com. Then, sign up for your 2-week free trial of our membership to gain access to hundreds of hours of amazing content and tools just like this.